thoroughbred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Tide and Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here, am I on? Can somebody respond?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Top 10 Tuesday in the Doghouse. Today's Top 10 deals with the 10 most prolific cities, states, and high schools. This Top 10's got about 19,000 things in it. In producing NFL talent. I mean, these are some solid lists. It's very interesting. We'll get to that a little bit later on, but it's just like, what city do you think the most NFL players come from? What state per capita, and what high school as well? I think you'll be interested in some of those numbers, so I will get you all of that stuff coming up in a little bit. Today, the Braves still have the champagne on ice with the loss to the Marlins last night, getting shut out 4-0, and the Mets getting rained out. So this NL East thing is still up for grabs. 2 games left for the Braves. The magic number is 1. As in, win one of the 2 games and it's over. Or the Mets lose one of their 3 games that they've got against the Nats coming up. The Mets have to sweep the Nats in Washington, and the Braves have to get swept in Miami for the Mets to win the division. It would be an epic fail if it came to that. I mean, can you imagine if that ended up happening? But don't sweat it yet. Don't sweat it yet. But I'll tell you what, if the Braves don't win today, depending on what happens with the Mutts, it could be a little bit of you start gripping a little bit. All right, if you know what you want to talk about, phone lines are open at 256-576-4977. I am broadcasting to you from the Big Dog Production Studios. Usually on a Tuesday, I'm in the Palatial Studios in downtown Huntsville of the Zone, but I'm not today because I got a jet immediately after the show. As I told Grizz yesterday, I'll be doing my show from here. No step anything. I'm jetting immediately after the show. I got to go to South Carolina. Tomorrow I will come to you from South Carolina. Thursday, Captain Cool and the Bandyman will have the show. Friday, it'll be Honcho and Grizz with the show for Football Friday because they understand the betting thing. The young pups are still wetter behind the ears. They don't understand the gambling terminology. How my son, my flesh and blood, how the fruit of my loins does not understand gambling terms is beyond me. And I know he does. He said to him, well, yeah, I'll do your show Friday or Thursday, but Friday, that's that betting thing you do. I'm going to let Grizz and Honcho do that because that's that betting thing you do. I'm like, are you kidding me? My son doesn't it's bullcrap. My son understands the lines. He understands the back number. He understands the hook. He knows what the hell is going on. Just doesn't want to do the show. He knows that my sons know betting, okay? Something I'm proud of. They know when they're very, very young. They know what the spread means and what the line is and what cover means. They know what a backdoor cover is. They know what a front door cover is. They know what the grand salami is. Grizz is just like, uh-oh, he just lost me. The hell's a grand salami? Grand salami, you can bet on how many runs will be scored on a night of baseball. The whole, you could, in other words, over or under like 103 runs. The whole night of baseball. It's called the Grand Salami. Hockey, they do that a lot in hockey. You can bet on the number of goals in hockey that night. There's 6 hockey games. They average 5 goals a game. So whatever that is, 30. And then, the over and under is 31 or something like that. That's the Grand Salami. I'm here to edify and educate you. Why is my light not on? Hang on. All right, I'm back. I wonder why I couldn't read my notes. Anyway, if you want to get in and you know what you want to talk about, the phone lines are open at 256-576-4977. You can also text the show at 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469, which is a great way to communicate with us. My personal Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed, and I have not tweeted this morning anything. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. They've probably tweeted out the show already there, where you can watch the show, and you can watch on the Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. And you can watch on Twitch and YouTube at WZZN TV. Although I'm looking at Grez through the little window there, and it always makes me wonder. He has this kind of concerned look on his face, and when I see him across the way looking like that, I'm wondering if he's still futzing around with the TV feed. And I'm like, I wonder if he didn't. Maybe we're not on the TV feed. I think we're okay though. I think we're A-okay on the TV feed. And look, you can get all of that stuff at 977ESPN.com and get links to all of that. While you're at it, get both of our apps, the Zone and the Blitz, where you can find links to Zone 2 and Zone 3 and Zone 4, all our alternate streaming for more great programming. Now, Thursday night, Buckhorn plays Lee at Milton Frank Stadium with a potential Region 8. Well, it's not potential. It's a playoff game. Honest to goodness. It's a Week 7 playoff game. I mean, that's it. That's what it is. Tell Tyson that. Tyson, if you're listening, it's a playoff game. Winner makes the playoffs. Period. End of story. If the loser still has a chance, but all kinds of crazy things have to happen. Winner makes the playoffs. That makes it a playoff game. The Lee Generals hosting Buckhorn in an empty Milton Frank Stadium. Buckhorn people, come out. Fill up that visiting side like you did last year for the Mae Jemison game. Fill that sucker up. Anyway, Steve Moulton will be in for me on that game with John McGough. John Boy, Dewey, Magoo, McGough. Is anybody listening to the Morning Dew on Sunday mornings with John McGough? Pretty good show. Pretty good show. I hear. I don't know. I'm in church during that. Unlike Magoo, I'm in church at that time in the morning. What can I tell you? Friday night, Randolph puts its 5-1 record on the line against DAR. Austin Coletti and Drew DeArmond on that one. It will be on our air. And on Zone 2, Friday night, Madison Academy is at Vinemont. Steve and Glenn Laird on that one. All three of our teams were big, dominant wins last week. And, of course, the Woody Anderson Ford North Alabama Scoreboard Show with Scott Tyson will begin on a blitz at 8:30 and then move on the air to the air after the Randolph game. By the way, speaking of Sunday morning and being in church, I got a pet peeve. Can I get this off my chest? I want to get this off my chest. Sunday morning, this Sunday morning in London thing at 8:30 kickoff. I mean, it's the Giants and the Packers, for God's sakes. The Giants and the Packers. Huge fan bases. Those Sunday morning games are pulling about 2.5 to 3 million viewers in the States. 2.5 to 3 million viewers. A regular Sunday NFL game gets 12, 13, 14 million. This game, Giants and Packers, would be a 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern game. This game would get 15, 16, 17 million viewers if it were on a Sunday afternoon at 3:30 in the afternoon. I promise you, it would get 15, 16, 17 million. It's going to have 3 million because it's Sunday morning at 8:30 Central, 9:30 East, 7:30 on the West Coast. Does anybody go to church anymore? I mean, come on. And even after church, we slide into the Sunrise for a little brunch. Come on, stop this. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Here, let's take a game that would have 16 million viewers and let's move it to London so no one can see it. And maybe we'll put the teams in uniforms that are unrecognizable, like they are half the time now with the stupid alternate uniforms. Why are you doing this to the league? Okay, got that off my chest. You see where that is on my script? Those of you watching on WZZN TV can see me holding up my notes. Nowhere on there. I went off script on that, okay? Nowhere. Not everything I say is scripted. Sometimes if I don't script it, I might say something I'm going to regret later. I try to stick to what I put on the piece of paper. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll head to the Plains with Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer and get his thoughts on where Auburn is heading into Athens and what seems like a hopeless situation. On the other hand, what a great opportunity. The Georgians look like garbage the last 2 weeks. What a great opportunity for Auburn. Someone asked Brian Harsin his thoughts about coaches getting fired in mid-season. I mean, come on, how subtle is that? So, Coach, in the wake of Paul Chryst and the guy out there at Colorado getting fired, what do you think about coaches getting fired in midseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think every program's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I don't know. I don't know if it has to do with, anything bigger than that. I mean, just and I couldn't tell you each and every program's situation and where they are, and those
where we
type
are.
of
How are we going to know where they are?
So, yeah, I mean, it's just that's just part of it.
Yeah,
and
could happen to me.
I don't know if there's a better answer than that. I know there's coaches. I mean, I've seen coaches out there. There's good coaches out there.
Good coaches.
And but every program's got different things they're working through and what they want, and so I think that kind of just goes back to where they are more than anything.
Yeah.
And where those coaches are in that program.
And whether or not they fired their AD, and I don't really know where they are because I don't know where we are. It's a ballsy question. I will say this. It's a better question than the ones that were asked to the Nick Saban. The Nick Saban questions are so lame that I actually did Unleashed about it. They're so lame. People are so afraid to ask Nick Saban a real question. Like, Coach, we noticed that you were very upset. Come on, Moulton, ask this question tomorrow. Will you please ask this question tomorrow at the presser, at the phone presser? I know you're always asking Coach a question. Ask him this one. Say, look, we could tell that you were upset on the 1st and goal from the 3 when a pass play was called for your quarterback who just ran 77 yards. Was that an audible at the line of scrimmage, or was that the call from the sideline? That's a legit question. So, because when Saban screams, run the effing ball, is he screaming at Bill O'Brien, or is he screaming at Jalen Milroe? Or is he screaming at everybody just because he's like us and doesn't understand why they're not running the ball at 1st and goal from the 3? But that's the way you ask the question. Say, Coach, you are visibly upset about that. Was that an audible at the line of scrimmage, or was that a check by Jalen, or was that the call? That was the call.
There's no arguments. Those are called ass-chewings.
Exactly what that was. And then you can ask him about the snap on the punt that went awry. Was there any conversation with the snapper as to what he saw or why he might have snapped that ball, 5 yards to the right of the punter? No. Instead, they ask him puff questions about, how great Kool-Aid McKinstry is. Coach, what do you think of Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid's great, isn't he? What a great story he has. Can you tell us why Kool-Aid is great? Get out of here with that kind of question. Or you ask him a question about strategy. So, Coach, is there a special package in? Is there a different strategy in place for Jalen Milroe? He said, yeah. How about I just call Jimbo and tell him what we're going to do this week? What a stupid question. You can't ask the coach about strategy. So, Coach, do you anticipate running the option with Milroe, and does he have the RP? Get the hell out of here with that question. Now, ask him why he was so bent out of shape about 1st and goal from the 3. Now you got a question. Well, I'm a little wound up right now. Let me calm down. I'm out of I'm going to call my cardiologist this morning. I'm out of one of my heart, maybe 2 of my heart medications. I better calm down a little bit. At the top of the 11th, Dr. John Greco from TOC Sports. What can be expected with Bryce Young's AC joint sprain? So we got that coming up as well. Over there in that little glass booth with the slanted ceiling, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and keeping us on the air, answering the phones, maybe gripping just a little bit about the Braves. It's DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That Tom? Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the f*** it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizz, how the hell are you? You're gripping just a little bit. I mean, you wanted that to finish last night, right?
Just a little bit, but like I've seen like all over the place, you know, the team was I feel like the team was exhausted. They came in late. You don't want to make excuses, right? They gave it like everything to go out and beat the Mets, to go against what the Mets threw at them for, 3 days, and then to have to go travel to Miami and have to play in Miami, who, and I mean, just not even just this year. In years past, Miami has always kind of been like a sore thumb for the Braves. They've always been an issue, and so I wanted to see it happen, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
and
but
they got 2 more games.
You can't, no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. I mean, there's no excuses, but I mean,
come on.
You're playing your butt off. They've been playing their butt off for a while now. So I mean, I finally just to see them, kind of get, kind of stomped. Hopefully they kind of right the ship, and hopefully in this doubleheader,
Don't wait
at least
for the
one
Mets
of these
to
games
lose.
the Mets loses.
The Mets will lose, but don't wait for the Mets to lose.
Oh, no. They got the champagne ice. They're waiting. You know what I mean? It's straight.
I don't know. Have you ever asked Nick Saban a question?
Yes.
Do you just ask him mealy-mouthed questions, or do you ask him like a real question?
I ask him like a real question. I don't ask stupid questions. I ask football questions.
So I asked him. He sat down with me at SEC Media Days 2 years ago, and he's the oldest coach, I believe, because I think Frank Solich retired. Right? He's not at Ohio anymore. Didn't Frank Solich retire? I think Saban is the oldest coach. He was the oldest Power 5 coach at the time, anyway, if not the oldest coach. And I said to him, "So, Coach, you're the oldest coach in."
Yeah. Back in 2020.
Yeah, he retired. So I said to him, "Coach, you're the oldest coach in FBS football. And do you feel like that affects you at all on the recruiting trail? Are you getting hit with negative recruiting? Have you noticed? Because you are the oldest coach." He looked at me like he was burning like right through my eyes and into the back of my head.
Homelander.
And he's like, yeah, it was like, and he was like, well, I didn't know that. It was serious. He didn't know he was the oldest coach. And
I remember when he was kind of he kind of took it back a second.
He was taken back.
Yeah.
I didn't say it in a negative way because he's only like 9 years older than me, so it's not like I'm a spring chicken. I'm the oldest guy at the radio station. But I'm like, and that was a respectful question. Are you sensing any negative recruiting based on the fact that you are the oldest coach in FBS? And he answered the question good. He understood. He respected the question. He answered the question. The last question I've asked him, but I'm just saying, he answered the question. You just got to ask a legit question. All right, let me get to Philip in here. He's probably got some hope now that his team got rained out. He's probably thinking that he's got a chance with the Mets, but I don't know. Philip, what's going on?
You got to believe, baby. You got to believe.
Got to believe.
So I don't want to belabor this too much, but I don't see how they're playing a single game today. Have you Google Citi Field weather report? Today
I thought that was in
yesterday.
I thought that was in.
No.
It's not in Washington.
We're in New York.
Oh, you're up New York.
You messed that up.
Oh,
you
I
messed
did.
that up in the open. We're in New York.
Well, I don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Well, I mean, it's raining like crazy there.
Okay, so today
it's ironic how the Braves-Mets series was supposed to be, possibly moved, the hurricane, blah, 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 blah. It turned out to be beautiful. Now we're in this situation. It's crazy. But, hey, I'm not getting my hopes up.
Okay, so 60. Let me ask you this question. 60% chance of rain today. 79% chance of rain tonight. You're right. I don't think your game's going to happen. Tomorrow, 79% chance of rain. And then it's Sunday, Thursday, Friday. So the playoffs are supposed to begin, for the wild card teams like the Mets. The playoffs are supposed to begin on the 7th, which is Friday, okay? So if the Braves win tonight, if they go ahead and win tonight in Miami, where they got a dome anyway, if they win tonight, do the Mets just forget this whole series? I mean, just cancel the rest of the series, right? I mean, what's the point? You just don't play these games, right?
I kind of agree with that. However, someone brought up the fact, well, Jeff McNeil is in a battle for the batting title.
Well, so what? I mean, you end it there. I mean, a lot of times players only play 140 or 150 game, whatever. So you played a 158 game season. Big deal.
Yeah,
what's the point?
I totally agree. So I'm just kind of chilling. Whatever happens, happens. But I must, on your Tuesday top 10 thing there.
Yeah.
I got to bring up where I am here, which, by the way, it's miserable. That freaking hurricane turned around and came right back here. Weather is horrible here.
All right, tell people where here is, where you listen to the show.
Chesapeake, Virginia.
And so I understand that you're listening to other shows on our air. I really appreciate it. But that is kind of interesting that you've taken it from listening to me, who you became a fan of in Nashville, and now you're listening to our other shows.
Well, I'm hoping that some of your greatness rubs off on the folks there. I don't necessarily that's happening, but
well, anyway. That's why they hired me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's why the big guy brought me in. He said, look, I want you to rub off a little bit on the guys. And I said, look, I don't rub off on other men, okay? I'm not going to rub off on the dudes. So, yeah, that's gross.
A little bit college football heavy for me. I mean, I like college football, but come on.
We're in college football heaven right here. I mean, this is,
I will bring up Tidewater, Virginia. We have the all-time NFL sack leader, Bruce Smith. We have David Wright, Ryan Zimmerman, Justin and B.J. Upton. There's several other major leaguers that have come out of here.
Wasn't Mike Vick from there? Yeah.
Yes.
The basketball player, what's his name? Practice? You talking about practice? Allen Iverson. Yeah.
I was in the bowling alley when he broke that chick's arm. I swear to God. Indian River Bowling Lanes, Chesapeake, Virginia, I was there.
Yeah. That's a
in this area are in professional sports. Sweet Pea Whitaker, which I think was a featherweight champion.
Well, let's be honest. They either become professional athletes or they go to jail. I mean, got a lot of that down there, too. There's a lot of crime.
Yeah.
But
I anticipate, I am looking forward with whatever you look forward with on the list there. But I expect Virginia to rank prominently high.
Okay, yeah, you may be pleasantly surprised on the list here. The states with the most NFL players, you might be surprised, especially on a per capita list as well. I mean, the per capita list, maybe they come in there too. But you got a lot of people in the Washington area, so there's a lot about it.
All right, I got to get this out. I got to get this out real quick because you were so wrong. I get you with the uniforms. I get you.
Yeah.
Believe me, brother, I get you. However, the Bengals were fire. They looked like
I thought it was hideous
white
looking.
Tigers out there. That was the best mix-it-up uniform I've ever seen.
I thought it was
love it. They could
hideous.
stick with that.
I thought it was hideous. I thought they looked like the Memphis
I hate
Tigers.
The whole pajamas thing. Pants should never be the same color as the shirt. I mean, your mother taught you that growing up.
Well, white on white.
Jeans, you wear a light shirt. If you put on light jeans, you wear a dark shirt. I mean, that's just common freaking sense.
I like some of the monochromatic.
Horrific.
Well, you don't like white on white, though? White on white looks good in football.
The Cowboys pull it off.
Oh, and the Falcons wear that white on white. I love it.
I like the Falcons old school white on white, though. I don't like the Falcons black on black this past week. Ugh.
Did you see? Oh, when the Cowboys beat the crap out of I still on the Redskins. I don't care. Throw me in prison. But what was that? The whole black thing they were doing. Where'd that come from?
Are you kidding?
That's their third jersey.
That's their,
the third.
Yeah,
that's the
alternate uniform. I mean, like, you don't even your all your uniforms suck, including your alternate uniform. I did like the way the nameplate was on the back. It was a military uniform, is what it was. They looked like Army. It said Commanders, on where the name would go on the right on the left front chest there, and then they had like a military look on the back of it. But yeah, they have so lost their way. They did not need to change their uniform. All they needed to do was peel that logo off, and they would have been fine.
Did you hear on opening day they were passing out coffee cups with the W?
Yeah.
And in the foreground or background or whatever was the state of Washington.
Yes. Yeah, they did. Exactly. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. All right. I got a jet. Good job by you, Philip. Yeah.
How
about them Cowboys? There you go. You heard about that, right, Chris? They were giving out the coffee mugs, and it had the Washington Commander logo on it with the Washington with the W, and behind it was the state of Washington. The state of Washington. And so not only did the people who make the cup, not the people who ordered the cups didn't know what the hell they were doing. The people that make the cups didn't notice. And the people who were passing the cups out, nobody once said, what are we, the Washington Huskies? What are we, Washington State Cougars here? What the hell is this?
And I see it now. That's pretty bad. That is. Was it made in China?
Probably. I mean, Taiwan, China, someplace like that. Let's get a break. We will come back with Justin Ferguson next, right here in the Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Tom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit AVIQHSV.com.
This view was worth a hike.
Right?
And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
If you or a loved one is suffering with mental health issues, call Integrated Behavioral Health. IBH's highly skilled team of trained psychiatrists and therapists can help you through the most difficult times of your life. IBH is now open in Madison and Decatur, and we are welcoming new patients. Don't let the stress of mental health issues drag you down. Call 855-422-1618. Integrated Behavioral Health. We can help. Call 855-422-1618.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. If you know me, you know I've been around a whole lot of championship teams. Well, there's one championship team in North Alabama I want to make sure you know about. The trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems. Rick Smith and his team provide the best in air conditioning solutions, so even on the hottest days, you'll be cool. Give Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how cool you can be. Environmental Comfort Systems. Alabama license number 92314.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
So this segment of the show is brought to you by BetUS.com. Back for their 28th year of NFL action is BetUS.com. They got the industry's biggest sign-up bonus, up to 200% at BetUS. They offer members a chance to cash in on all your favorite sports. Remember, hockey starts on Friday night. The NHL opens Friday night. Tack that on top of the MLB action. You also got the playoffs and Major League Baseball starting on Friday. And then, of course, you got all your college football and your NFL football to get in on. Use the promo code WZZN. That's right, the promo code WZZN for the best deals at BetUS.com. When you sign up, it says, do you have a promo code? You put in there WZZN. Okay? All right, joining us now, a guy that does not need a promo code, but he does a tremendous job for the Auburn Observer and the Auburn Observer podcast. You can find all kinds of information about everything Auburn right there. And he is Justin Ferguson. He's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jay Ferg, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you?
I'm fantastic. All right, so since this segment is brought to you by BetUS.com, if you're a betting man, this question comes from the text window here. Big John wants to know, ask Ferg, is Harsin Auburn's coach next week at this time?
That's a tough question because, I feel like this week, 29-point dog at Georgia is the biggest underdog. It's the biggest Auburn's been an underdog since 2012, I believe. It's a tough spot to be in for sure. You do wonder, though, if things trend the way they do, if Auburn would pull the trigger after a loss like that to Georgia, depending on how they look Saturday at Athens, or they have an off week coming up after they play at Ole Miss next week. So the bye week would make the most sense if they wanted to make a move. but there's so much riding. The fact that it is the Georgia game. If Auburn loses this weekend, Brian Harsin will have a losing record at Auburn. Auburn will have a losing record. Though they'd be 500 on this season,
right?
So it would be really tough. It would be really tough to see, if Auburn goes out and gets pasted at Georgia on Saturday. That would put up obviously a lot of pressure. But then there's also the fact that there is an off week coming up in 2 weeks. So there'll be a lot of logistics, I think, there. But it's definitely possible.
Look, Georgia hasn't been covering anything. I mean, since the beautiful win against Oregon when they opened the season, since then it's been kind of sketchy for Georgia in terms of covering in games that they are big favorites in. So, is there? Gosh, I can't even believe we're talking about this kind of stuff. But if Auburn gets beat 31-21, if they get beat, 34-20, something like that. In other words, half of the spread. If they're within half, you can only get beat by 10 to 14 points in a game. They're a 29-point dog. Does that actually reflect good on them? I mean, is that a good thing, or does it still be like, this is bad?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that a loss is still a loss. But if you go to Georgia and you play better, then you start thinking, okay, well, let's see what it looks like against Ole Miss the week after that. But yeah, I mean, it's you go back to the LSU game this weekend. Auburn showed some things a little different. I mean, Robbie Ashford threw the ball deep downfield pretty well. They got a little bit more movement in the running game. Thought the defense played a really, really strong game against LSU, especially through the air. It was one of Auburn's best pass defensive games in a very long time. And yet it just still went the same way a lot of these games have gone for Auburn under Brian Harsin, which is you have a double-digit lead, you blow the double-digit lead about the middle of the game, and then you can't score in the second half, and the other team walks out with a win. There's a lot of chaos, and there was a lot of just different things, but, turnovers, inability to score in the second half, dreadful in the middle eight, blowing an early lead. It's all kind of still it's happening over and over and over again for Auburn. And so what does that look like when you start playing a lot better teams away from home this weekend? That's where it gets scary for Auburn.
Yeah, I should have prefaced it by saying, of course, they'd have to score all 14 or 20 points in the first half because we know they disappear in the second half. This article that you wrote about the middle eight, that's a coaching term that really doesn't get a lot of love. A lot of people will talk about the first 5 minutes of the second half, but really the middle eight is something that Bill Belichick introduced to all coaches, and it was talked about all the way back. I haven't coached in 25 years, and we used to talk about the middle eight. And the middle eight, for people that don't know, the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, how you go into the locker room, how you come out of the locker room is huge. And as you point out in your article, Auburn's the worst at that in the SEC. I mean, the worst, period. It's a fascinating look.
Yeah, no, this is something that I've, been looking at middle eight really the last few years, and it's just gotten a whole lot worse for Auburn. They've given up 42. They're being outscored 42-7 in the middle eight this season. That is the most anybody has ever allowed in the SEC this year. That's the fewest anybody has scored. They have a differential of -35. The next closest is Florida, which is -6. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about Auburn being far and away the worst team in the middle eight this season. Last season, this was an issue as well for Auburn under Brian Harsin, as it stands right now under Brian Harsin. Auburn against Power 5 opponents, to this point in his tenure, Auburn has been outscored 87-13 against Power 5 opponents.
Wow!
And you can win games while losing the middle eight. It happens all the time, but statistically speaking, over 70% of the time in FBS football and Power 5 football, the team that wins the middle eight wins the game.
Yeah.
And Auburn consistently loses that. And they are put at so far of a disadvantage. And it's really, it's coaching, it's time management, it's focus, it's fatigue. Think about this. The other thing that stand out, Auburn has given up a touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the second quarter every single game this season. Every single game. And then they've only scored one coming out of the locker room all year, and that was against San Jose State. So, yeah, it's really a microcosm of how everything's gone south, for Auburn under Brian Harsin. It's just it's the game within the game. It's kind of a mini game inside the big scope, and consistently against Power 5 competition, Auburn is losing it badly.
If you lose the middle eight, you only win 26% of the time. I mean, that's a bad number, for that to happen like that. Justin Ferguson with us here. Somebody asked at the press conference, Brian Harsin his thoughts on the coaches that have been fired mid-season, because we had 2 more fired this past week, which is really kind of a subtle question. He handled it. It was interesting the way he handled it. I mean, it's just a different way to continue to ask questions about, getting whacked. Now, that wasn't you, right? I mean, it wasn't you that asked that question, was it? Okay. I just want to make sure that it was somebody else that asked it. It was a better question than any question that was asked of Nick Saban during that presser, because all they ask him is like softballs and questions that he's not going to answer. You know what I mean? Strategic questions, which he won't answer, and softball questions about, what do you think about Alabama's uniform? Isn't that pretty? I don't know. I mean, it's just goofy stuff. But, the best story in college football this year is Lance Leopold. Nobody's really talking about it much, but Lance Leopold has Kansas at 5-0. Lance Leopold came from Buffalo. He was the coach at Buffalo, I believe, when Alan Green was in Buffalo. Did Lance Leopold get an interview, or did he get much of a look? Not that Brian Harsin didn't come in with a great resume from outside of the SEC, and it would have been the same thing hiring the Buffalo coach. That would have raised a lot of red flags, I would think. But was Lance Leopold's name ever even mentioned? Because a lot of people felt for a long time that guy was going to be a great coach in college.
Yeah, this was interesting because I think it's kind of the whole timing thing. Lance Leopold went to Kansas the same cycle that Brian Harsin went to Auburn, right? So he was picked off from the Kansas. So I think he was kind of mentioned as a little bit as like, hey, well, Buffalo's done a really good job, but I think Auburn was kind of aiming higher. And then when he went to Kansas, it was like, wow, man, that was a brave man taking the Kansas job because of the way they've been. And yeah, he's done an excellent job. If Auburn comes open, it'll be interesting to see if Leipold's name gets out there, because he is doing such a good job as a program builder. He's got a great reputation. He is a little up there in age. He's in his late 50s, so it'd be interesting to see kind of what. But, I mean, think about the other thing. Wisconsin just fired their coach. I know there's talk about Jim Leonard, their coordinator, being the guy permanently. But Leipold built a dynasty at Wisconsin Whitewater before he went to Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that's another one. Nebraska's right up the road. That'd be another job that it would be interesting. So, yeah, I mean, Leipold's done a great job. I think he's going to get more and more love here in this coaching carousel. And it'll be interesting. He's got it made at Kansas right now. It took him a couple seasons, but they went from a doormat to a team that is playing some really good football right now. And so it'll be interesting to see if Auburn comes open, or of course Georgia Tech's open, Arizona State's open as well. I bet his name's going to get passed around a lot more.
He's 3 years younger than me, and you said he's up there in age. Come on, Ferg. I mean,
do you want to take the pressure of a Power 5 job? When you haven't made, you're not an up and comer at that point, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know.
The pressure of Division III ran me out when I was 37 years old. Are you kidding me? I ran to the radio booth. So, but I'm just saying, up there a little bit. I mean, come on now. I mean, he's a young man. He's only 58 years old. I mean, come on.
Nick Saban's the best coach in the game, and he's significantly older than you are, Tom. So
Nick Saban is
you can still do it. You can still do it.
He's the oldest coach in FBS. Nobody ever really talks about that. Nick Saban's the oldest coach out there. I mean, in FBS. I mean, that's a significant thing. All right. So on a bright note, there's been a lot of basketball talk recently, right? You had press conferences and SEC basketball media days come up and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of excitement. This reminds me so much of when I was in Nashville and Bruce Pearl was in Knoxville and the football team sucked, that it was like it became a basketball school, and it was just everybody was just more fired up for basketball than they were for football. It's starting to feel that way sometimes at Auburn a little bit, but he's got himself going to be an exciting basketball team to watch, right?
Absolutely. This is a team that's going to be in the mix for an SEC title again this year. Not as talented on the top as they were last year, because you lose Jabari Smith and you lose Walker Kessler. Those are two All-Americans, two NBA draft picks in the first round. But this team should be deeper. They should be more physical. They're gonna have a lot of guys. A lot of experience coming back. They're not resetting in their backcourt like they did last year. So, some of the iffiness you saw down the stretch from Auburn's guards, maybe that can step up this year. Wendell Green Jr. and Zep Jasper, Katie Johnson all have experience. The freshmen they do have and the transfer they did get to replace, Chance Westry, Johan Traore is going to be kind of a freak show, really athletic, playing above the rim kind of forward. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this season. And then you've got Jedi Broom, a transfer from Morehead State, who, was about as close as you can get to Walker Kessler in terms of a rim protector last season at the college level. And he's got a really good inside game, one of the most efficient inside scoring big men in the country last season. So this is a really good team. This is going to be a deep team. It's going to be, like I said, more physical. They won't be as talented as and might not click as quickly, but there's a lot to like about this crew. And there's so many good teams in the SEC this year. A lot of places loaded up in recruiting. Alabama, Arkansas being two of the biggest ones there. Tennessee's always going to be good. Kentucky's always going to be good. There's other really good up-and-coming teams in the conference. But I think Auburn, just with what Bruce Pearl's built and the consistency that he's got and the makeup of this team, this is a team that, when they start playing here in a few weeks, is going to have a lot of people excited about the season.
I think Katie Johnson just jacked up 3 shots while we were talking about the basketball team. I'm not sure, but he might have done it. He lost 20% or 10% of his body weight. I mean, that's a significant weight loss. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays, at, about 19 pounds lighter than he was last year.
Yeah, no, and it's really impressive. I've been able to watch some practices here first couple of weeks, and he looks more explosive. He looks like, his first season at Auburn, really his first season at Georgia too. He looked kind of like a running back or a linebacker. It's real stocky. Mm-hmm. He looks more like, a combo guard at this level now. And he said, in his words, I wasn't in my normal weight class, and now he feels like he's down by there, running faster. I think he's jumping better. And the other thing for him, you're talking about a shot. He's got to tighten up on his consistency there. He had a hand injury last season around the Georgia game, when his shot was never the same after that. It seems to be clicking a little better here in the offseason, shot better in Israel than he did at the end of last season. So they're hoping he can be, Auburn's really hoping he can be that spark plug, just give a little bit more. If he can be good, KD. That's. He was one of Auburn's most effective players last year in wins, but the losses, he had some rough performances. So if he stabilizes out and improves health and physique, could do that. You feel like you've got a lot out of him this year.
Justin Ferguson has been our guest. Ferg, appreciate you as always. Take care of that pipe. You sound like you're fighting a little bit of a cold. And we'll talk next week.
Yeah. Sinus infection voice. It's great. I appreciate it, Tom.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Getting up there in years. It's 58. I'd love to be 58 again. Getting up there in years. No, wait a minute. I don't want to be 58. If I'm 58, I'm not at this station.
Not yet.
Right? I don't want to be 58. I was, actually, that's when I came here when I was 58. The second time.
Second time,
yeah. I was 58 in fall of 2018. So, yeah, I was 58 when I came back to the Zone. I was here the day they turned the lights on at the Zone. I was the first voice anybody heard on the Zone, local voice. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, we'll set you up for hour number 2 right here on the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. and I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188, and you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway in Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Not going to be terribly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Actually feeling like fall for a change. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Definitely going to be one of those nights when you can leave the windows open. Maybe a couple of more clouds for your Wednesday afternoon. We're not talking about any rain. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Nick Saban Show.
We talk about finishing. That's like the number one word.
To Alabama football.
Touchdown, Alabama!
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
show. This segment of the show brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. For all your mortgage needs, it's North Alabama Mortgage. And right now is a great time to get locked in at a rate for a refi, and you can do so much. There's so much value in your home right now. I know that rates have gone up some, but the value that is in your house is there's a lot of money still in the house. The home prices have not gone down. There's been a lot of talk about home prices crashing. They've stabilized, very much, which means that you've got extra value in your house right now. And if you're looking to buy a new house, it's still extremely competitive out there. What you want to do is get pre-approved with North Alabama Mortgage, not pre-qualified, pre-approved, so that your offer looks that much more attractive, if you will. All right, coming up next, Dr. John Greco is going to join us from TOC Sports, and we'll talk to him about what can be expected with Bryce Young's AC joint sprain. I don't think he's playing this week. For those of you that think he's playing this week, I don't think. I saw that Drew said 25% chance he plays this week, 75% that he plays next week. I would, I'm not going to doubt Drew on that. I think that's probably fairly accurate. I think it might even be less than 25% this week. But what do we know? What do we really know? We're not in there with the trainers. We're not in there looking at it. We're not watching him throw at practice if he's throwing and when he starts throwing. He's had this kind of deal before. Look, I think that they're a 24-point favorite without him playing. It's kind of a cupcake game. Let's be honest with you. Rat poison. Rat poison. 24-point favorite. I think they'll be all right.
This is Alabama.
I think they'll be fine. Got to get them ready for that Tennessee game, You never know. Sometime one of these decades, they'll have to lose to Tennessee, so you got to have them ready. Dr. John Greco's next. Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Cowboys will get an update on their franchise quarterback today. Dak Prescott slated to meet with a doctor about his recovery from a right thumb fracture. Cowboys Executive VP Stephen Jones says X-rays of Prescott's hand will give them a better picture of where things stand. A plan for Prescott will follow up today's appointment. The QB and Cowboys have targeted Week 5 for his return to the lineup, which would be Sunday against the Rams. His return, though, is predicated on his ability to grip the football. Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett says he expects quarterback Russell Wilson to play against the Colts Thursday night despite a right shoulder injury. Baseball, Mariners utility man Sam Haggerty will undergo an MRI today on the groin injury he suffered in last night's loss. He needed assistance to leave the field. Seattle in the postseason for the first time in 21 years opens up a best-of-3 series Friday in Cleveland or Toronto.
Follow the Tide right here. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Your home of all things Bama is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. With college basketball season starting in only a month, an early look at national championship odds have Gonzaga the favorite at plus 800, with Houston behind them at plus 850. North Carolina and Kentucky each at plus 900, and Duke and Kansas each at plus 1400. College football, Auburn a big underdog at number 2 Georgia this Saturday. The Tigers plus 29.5 in Athens, 50 the over-under. Number 1 Alabama hosting Texas A&M. The Crimson Tide a 24-point home favorite, 51.5 the set total. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Not going to be terribly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Actually feeling like fall for a change. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Definitely going to be one of those nights when you can leave the windows open. Maybe a couple of more clouds for your Wednesday afternoon. We're not talking about any rain. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Live local shows.
Hello.
Live local play-by-play.
Oh, now's a good time to check the radio.
Plus, the power of ESPN Radio. It's all right here. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby.
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho. Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here. And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. And now an opportunity to talk to one of the top surgeons anywhere in the country. And we're going to talk about Bryce Young's shoulder separation and exactly what this all means, because it's a little bit confusing. Is it a shoulder separation? They're calling it an AC joint strain. And I know I always thought the AC joint was the shoulder, you know, right there at the ball and socket, the way he stretched his arm out like that. That's what it looked like. But what do I know? So what a great opportunity to talk to Dr. John Greco from TOC Sports, longtime sponsors of the show. We appreciate them so much. And, of course, handling most of the schools throughout the Tennessee Valley. And he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Doc, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Big Dog. How are you? I'm doing very well. Thank you.
I am fantastic. And so let's talk a little bit about this AC joint sprain. That's what they're saying that Bryce Young has. Explain exactly what an AC joint sprain is.
So the AC joint is where the clavicle meets the acromion bone, which is kind of a segment coming around from the shoulder blade. And so it's not the ball and socket joint where, you know, people dislocate their shoulder. So an AC joint sprain or separation is where the clavicle or the collarbone meets that acromion bone. And it's a joint. It's a joint that has two sets of ligaments that kind of hold it in place. One are the AC joint ligaments, which kind of hold front and back, and then the other ones are the corticoclavicular ligaments, and those control going up and down. And so depending on the severity of the AC joint sprain, that's determined by how much of the ligaments have been torn. So we grade them 1 through 5. 1 through 3, you treat non-operatively. 4 and 5, which you see very infrequently, are treated operatively. But that's different from a ball and socket joint when someone dislocates their shoulder. I dislocated my left shoulder when I was 16, and it continued to happen until I eventually had it fixed. But there are subluxations where the ball kind of slides out and slides back in. The best way The most common way of injuring the AC joint is landing on the shoulder itself, kind of like almost like an accordion. You got a big defensive tackle who lands on a small quarterback like Bryce Young or Tua, and that's how they can get an AC joint sprain, especially a guy that's really active, tries to extend the play, that type of thing. They put themselves in harm's way at times. So that's what has been reported is the call on this injury. It's just the mechanism looked a little bit different. It looked like maybe a subluxation more likely than an AC joint sprain.
Nick Saban commented that he's had these before, and in a couple of days he starts feeling better. So we'll see how he'll be, and so on. When you saw the way he fall, like you said, it almost looked like a shoulder separation. Saban also mentioned that there are things that he can do. Maybe just go ahead and let the guy tackle him and not try to extend the play to where he hurts himself like that. Are there things that athletes can do in those situations, especially quarterbacks that are exposed, that will maybe prevent this kind of an injury?
Well, I mean, I think if you kind of ball up and learn how to land, maybe not so much on the point of the shoulder, but these guys are competitors and they're so talented, and they've done it so many times where they've extended the play where it has created an amazing touchdown or an amazing play that I think they just get caught up in the whole process of being competitive. So I think that there's always a way you can learn how to take a hit. I think the best example is Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith never took a real direct blow. I think that's one of the reasons why he played so long, because his body was compact and he just knew how to absorb hits as a running back. And so I think there are some people that do put themselves in harm's way more so than others. It's like you see somebody who falls and they're like, kind of stumbling and just not coordinated, and then you see other people who fall, you just kind of know how to roll out of it or land softly, so to speak. But an AC joint sprain in general is generally not treated operatively. They can bounce back pretty quickly, but you can get somebody who has a shoulder subluxation, the ball the ball slides out a little bit out of the socket, and again, that's another one of those things that you can have a history of, and you can rehab it, and it kind of gets better until you have another real forceful event. So still, it's debatable what the real injury is, but certainly I'm not going to question Coach Saban, that's for sure.
Dr. John Greco with us here talking about the Bryce Young injury. The fact that he came back out of the locker room, I mean, when he went into the locker room, then he came back out, he still had his shoulder pads on. He wasn't in a sling, so that means he wasn't all taped up. They didn't have ice attached to it or anything like that. That would seem to be a fairly positive thing, isn't it? The fact that they didn't put him in any kind of a sling or do anything that way treatment-wise?
Yeah, I would think that if it is an AC joint sprain, it's very mild because it looks like he was not in immense pain except for at the beginning. But again, if it was a slight shoulder subluxation, same feeling. I mean, once it happens, it's painful, but then it kind of gets better very quickly. So it's one of those things where the treatment will be treatment, rehab, and then the return to play is just dependent on A, what the real injury is, and B, the severity. But if it looks like it wasn't significant, I expect him to be back maybe in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Saban said that he didn't think if they would put him in a game, they didn't think he would have anything on the ball, any zip on the ball. And I would think that the worst thing he could do is start throwing again. I mean, people are speculating about whether or not he'd be ready for the Texas A&M game this weekend. It would seem like there's no possibility of that, and that rest is a big part of this because wouldn't it? Just the act of soft tossing and throwing and then trying to put a little zip on the ball, that's got to put a lot of strain on that AC joint, no?
Yeah, I mean, what really stresses the AC joint is if you're coming across your body. Because if you think about it, if your right arm comes across your body, say you're trying to stretch out your shoulder, that's the mechanism that's going to aggravate an AC joint sprain. So, and also getting hit. So what we've done with AC joint sprains in the past is you can either use shock pads up underneath your shoulder pads, or you can use an AC joint pad that sometimes works, but the problem is it moves around a lot. But that's what they'll probably do once they do get them back on the field, just to protect it a little bit. Kind of like when you got a quarterback who's had a rib injury, and when they would throw those flak jackets on them.
Right.
So it's a similar type of process.
Now, It was McCarron said, A.J. McCarron said, I know that injury. I seen it. I had it twice. And he used the word labrum. He said AC joint and labrum. What's the labrum? What would that be? What's he talking about?
So what he's referring to is what I was mentioning. The mechanism, you would think more of a shoulder subluxation, meaning the ball sliding out of the socket. Mm-hmm. And when it does that, even if it pops right back in, you can tear the labrum, which is a band of tissue that goes around the socket. It deepens the socket, and it helps keep the ball in place. I had a labral tear. It's called a Bankart lesion. When the shoulder, which usually, if it's going to slide out to the front, it'll tear that lower front labrum, and you have to have it repaired because once it's torn, it just makes it easier and easier to have this occur again. So, again, if it's his AC joint, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
If it's a labral tear or truly a subluxation, that's an issue. I mean, that really will be an issue for, especially a throwing quarterback.
Yeah. Dr. John Greco with us here. All right, so while I got you, Doc, a lot of controversy about the Tua Tagovailoa injury, the first injury against the Bills, and then, of course, the concussion that he suffered then in Cincinnati. I know that the neurosurgeon has been let go by the NFL that originally checked him against the Bills and so on. But I was, call me naive, but I was kind of buying into what Tua was saying and what the team was saying was that the injury against the Bills was not a head injury, that he had a back injury where his back locked up on him, and he's been dealing with lower back issues. In the post game, he actually had a wrap on around his back with ice on his lower back and had this thing, but he staggered. You know what I mean? He was staggered, and what I've been saying, and I'm not a doctor, I just know one, but what I was saying is that, look, I've had that where your back locks up and you stagger and you look like it'll bring you to your knees. You look like you're knocked out or you're punch drunk or something like that, and it could be exactly that. Explain how that could happen where, maybe he did have the quote-unquote, back spasm and it locked up and it just kind of made him stagger but look like a head injury.
Well, I think the fact that his head banged the ground makes you think, more of a concussion. And, concussion protocols have changed dramatically over the past 15 years. It's amazing. Even the board answer of how you would treat it has changed, over the past 10, 15 years. So it's really a cut and dry, much more cut and dry than it used to be. If someone gets their bell rung and they are, dizzy and not there, and even if it clears up, the board answer is they're done for the game. Mm-hmm. And so... it's a very easy decision to make. When I take care of all the different high schools that I take care of, or Alabama A&M, I take care of that university. Mm-hmm. Those decisions are pretty easy to make. You start getting into the world of professional football, and there are a lot of forces and a lot of factors that become involved, and so it will cloud the judgment of a rule that has become much more cut and dry. And that's in the defense of the neurosurgeon, he's got the president, team president, the general manager, the agent, the player, the owner. They're all breathing down his neck and saying, "Hey, man, this is our guy. Is he really out?" So it's something that is bent, I think, much more in the NFL than it is in any other realm. But even in big-time college sports, college football, similar type of dilemma, and it's really up to the team physician to stick to his guns or not. So yeah. I think in this particular instance, he really probably did have a ding of his head, and so the protocol is not a time dependent protocol, meaning you're not out a certain amount of time. You're out until you clear all symptoms, and then it's a slow brought back process to get him back, up to speed.
So, he went back in the game, and they said he wasn't in the concussion protocol and so on. And I guess that's part of the reason why the NFL went to these independent neurosurgeons or neurologists to evaluate these guys because they're not beholden to the team. But I could still see that being a real high-pressure type situation.
It is, and so really it's a much easier decision to make now, because if he gets dinged, if he comes out and he's just wobbly, and it doesn't take a brilliant mind to look at somebody and say, well, he's got his bell rung. I don't care if it clears in a quarter or a half. You're out. And you take their helmet, actually.
Yeah.
And so it used to be a difficult situation, because we would say, well, he's cleared it, he's okay. But now it's a much more black and white type of scenario. I mean, it's never black and white, but it's a little bit, it's a fair amount clearer now than it used to be.
Yeah. Dr. John Greco has been our guest. Doc, I appreciate you so much. We always learn so much when we talk to you about these injuries, and I appreciate you being a resource for us, and all the docs at TOC supporting the show like you guys have for so many years.
No problem, Big Dog. I'm always here for you.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Take care.
It's Dr. John Greco from the TOC. I've known Doc for 18 years now, and just a great guy, and just a cool dude as well. I mean, he'll lay it out for you and explain it in plain English, if you will. All right, we're going to break in here. We'll come back with more. We got open lines coming up. You want to jump in, you can do that. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants, so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
The Huntsville Sports Commission, a not-for-profit organization, is driven by the love of sports. And we're excited to announce several events already planned for this fall, including the Gulf South Conference Soccer Championship, the AVCA Fall Collegiate Beach Championships, the NCAA Division I Regional Cross Country Championship, and the Running Lane Cross Country Championships. For the love of sports, the Huntsville Sports Commission. Find out more at huntsvillesports.org. YKTA wants you to join their team. YKTA is currently adding machine maintenance and die maintenance positions to their fast-growing company. YKTA has new improved work schedules with built-in days off. Pay range is $25 to $33 based on experience and additional shift differential. And YKTA has opportunities for increased pay above top range through advanced skills training. Apply today at yktal.com/careers. YKTA is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey there, folks. Head fry cook Bob Baumhauer here, and I just want to say thank you for allowing Baumhauer's Victory Grill to serve you for 40 legendary years. When I first delivered Alabama's first taste of buffalo wings back in 1981, people thought I was crazy. For the first few years, I had to give wings away. Imagine that. 40 years later, I'm still proud to serve the great people and visitors of Alabama our famous buffalo wings and much more. Here's to 40 years of legendary fun, legendary food, and many, many more.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of the Stanton Law Firm. Stan, I guess you are the Stanton in the law firm.
Yes, Wes, that's me, and we started the Stanton Law Firm so that myself and 4 other attorneys with me can help clients litigate, negotiate, and creatively solve legal and real estate problems.
Now, Stan, you grew up on a family farm in this area and have made a name closing on houses and land with your closing company, Jacob Title.
I grew up on a farm which used to be in the country. That, plus having closed on so many homes and farms, one of my colleagues started referring to me as a classic dirt lawyer. Now, I didn't know how to take that at first, that tag, but I realized that's exactly what I do and what I am.
Dan, I know the attorneys at Stanton Law Firm are regular listeners, and we plan to have you on periodically. You and I have seen have impacted this community.
Stay tuned, and you may hear about friends like Steve Booker, Clarence Johnson, Thomas Boyd, and even a few of those offensive line hogs like Hoss Johnson, and maybe you remember some other of those guys too.
I remember Clarence Johnson. He beat us one year. He was unbelievable.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
When it's time to ride in the great outdoors, you'll find it at Fayetteville Outdoor Sports. Join us this Saturday, October 8th from 9 till 3 for our grand reopening and explore exciting new products from Polaris and Honda, as well as equipment from Bobcat. Discover a great inventory of hunting vehicles, ATVs, motorcycles, and more. Be sure to register for door prizes and don't miss your chance to see the legendary Chuck Berry's motorcycle. That's this Saturday, 9 to 3 at Fayetteville Outdoor Sports on the Huntsville Highway, Fayetteville, Tennessee.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon. Not going to be terribly humid across the Tennessee Valley. Actually feeling like fall for a change. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Definitely going to be one of those nights when you can leave the windows open. Maybe a couple of more clouds for your Wednesday afternoon. We're not talking about any rain. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Listen to Buckhorn High School football all season long.
Landrum down near the goal line, and he's in for the Bucks touchdown.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Anderson Ford for all your service needs. It's Woody Anderson Ford. Check out the great line of F-150s as well. Not only the new, but the pre-owned F-150s. You can go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and see that. Gold certified pre-owned. There's all kinds of rules. It has to be like one owner, has to be under certain mileage, like 35,000 miles, it has to be serviced by them. I mean, it really, if they can get through all of those strict compliances, you're getting something that is really good. My last 2 vehicles that I bought from Woody Anderson Ford both came out of the gold certified pre-owned inventory. The truck that I drive and the Mustang that my wife drives, both, and we just absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. And I got the truck partially loaded up and ready to point east, heading for South Carolina here shortly after the show is over. I will come to you tomorrow from South Carolina. Then you're on your own, basically, on Thursday and Friday. Well, I say that, but the afternoon Blitz crew will have you on Thursday, and Grizz and Honcho will have you for football Friday. We will do tomorrow Beat the Big Dog, just so you know that. All right, phone lines are open, 256-576-4977, 256-576-4977. Grumpy is up next. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, I missed it the other day. Did anybody win all 4 games or 5 games on the trifecta?
one guy. Hang on 1 second. Let me just pull it up quickly. One guy hit all 5. It was one guy got it done, and he picked up 4 points for doing that. On the Friday trifecta, it'd be very, very tough to do. Grimm. It was Grimm got it, so he has 5 points now. Yeah, Jeff Grimm. He's got it, and then somebody else hit the first 3 plus the multiplier and picked up 2 points. But a couple of. But there's always one guy in the crowd. It seems like.
Yeah. Did you see where that guy almost hit that 15-team parlay?
I did not see that. What would that have paid off? 15-team parlay.
$74,000. $10 bet paid off $74,000, and they offered him $20,000 at the end of the third quarter. He had the Chargers, and they offered him $20,000 to buy it out, and he said no.
Did he lose it or you hit it?
He lost it. It was last night's game.
The Chargers. So it would have been what? The Rams? 49ers and the Rams.
I always get their colors mixed up. I don't watch that crap. But anyway, they offered him $20,000 at the end of the third quarter, and he said no. Hey, with DraftKings, I think, man, in the future, you remember Back to the Future when the guy had the book and he took over the world and everything was named after him? I think DraftKings and these betting sites are going to be like that. I hear more and more commercials. I listen to other shows too. This is my favorite show. But I hear more and more things like DraftKings, and it seems like their commercials are longer. You know what I mean? I mean, they'll take up a 20-second or 30-second spot, whereas, the equipment rental place will get a 15-second. I'm just saying in the future it's going to be crazy. I think, they're going to have so much money. I remember when radio stations were family-owned, and then they started getting bought out by big money. And I think, man, I could see how DraftKings and that other what's the one you do now, too?
I do BetUS.com. There's also, just DraftKings, and there's FanDuel. And, right.
But I think there's going to be so much money in the future that they can literally start buying. I mean, we're talking billions that weren't there before associated with sports. Can as an NIL, do they have anything in the Constitution of the NIL that says you can't be hired by unseemly type?
Well, it's not unseemly. You don't hang that on them, but you can't be.
It is unseemly for sports to be associated with that. That's what makes it. Individually, the two items are not unseemly, but you put them together, it's unseemly. There's no way around.
Well, the leagues all have deals with them now. I mean, that's why you see it on NFL, and then NBA started it. Major League Baseball, they all have deals.
That's my point.
With all the betting thing. But no, in NIL, it's against the regulations. You can't have alcohol. Sports betting sites, you can't have anything that is in conflict with the university. So in other words, if your university is a Pepsi university, you can't get a Coke NIL deal. You know what I mean? So there's things like that. Alabama's Coca-Cola.
When are we going to start seeing these faces? I hear all this money going out, but I haven't seen but like 1 or 2 athletes on commercials. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like they're just
most of them. I'll tell you what, most of them. Bryce Young has a big deal, and you're seeing him. Yeah. Did you notice that Bryce Young is on the? Yeah, he's on the Nissan commercial now. And you didn't see an existing Heisman Trophy winner before. You always saw older guys.
Yeah, they make a joke where it's just like, oh, I got a game, and all that stuff.
Well, and then he's on that Dr. Pepper one when Bosworth says, "How much money has that kid got?" And but no, the other most of the NIL deals has to do with social media. They're buying influencers, so they're not on traditional commercials.
Yeah, they don't have to do anything. They can hire other people to do their tweets and stuff if they wanted to and do absolutely nothing. But I'm not hating, man. I think these guys, if they can make money, there's enough money out there, Tom, that I was raised to where you don't hate another guy for making money, because if you want money, go get money. There's enough out there for everybody. But listen, the firing of the guy that does is it an individual, a doctor that was in charge of concussions in the NFL that got
he was one of the neurologists. It was an independent neurologist that it was assigned to the Miami Dolphins. Each team has an independent neurologist.
So when you make a firing like that, aren't you showing liability? Like the rules weren't followed, therefore we're liable for the
that's interesting.
Back on the field.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, is whether or not
You're admitting liability when you let somebody go like that.
Exactly. They would say, okay, he didn't follow the regulations. We let him go. Did he put that player in danger? Yeah, that's a good point.
The worst thing they could have done. All right, man. Have a good one.
And the guy's an employee of the NFL. So it's the NFL that would be on the hook of the guy. Those guys, those independent neurologists in each city are employees of the league. So by pulling the trigger on the guy, what you're doing is you're saying this guy didn't follow protocol. Now, there's a difference between not following protocol and whether or not he would put the guy in danger. They might say, okay, they didn't follow the proper protocol, but the findings are correct, and the player wasn't put in danger. Text window, I agree completely with everything Dr. Greco said, but I don't understand how Cameron Brate was allowed to go back into the game Sunday night after he visibly had his bell rung. He went back in for one play just before halftime and then was ruled out at halftime with the concussion. The NFL should have taken every precaution after what happened with Tua. Yeah, you would think. I was surprised that he went back on the field as well. And then he's ruled out. So obviously, they're going to have to come up with some kind of a set deal on this thing because, and it's one of the most difficult things to diagnose is the concussion. You don't want to have a scenario coming up. What's going to end up happening is if a player leaves a game with a concussion, it's going to be mandatory that he misses the next game. Something like that. That he can't, not only can he not go back in the game, but he's going to miss the next game. And the question is every bell ringing a concussion? Is every getting knocked? Because, look, anybody that's ever played this game at any kind of a level, or at least any kind of a level, a high school and up level, has had that moment where you kind of get dinged.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a ding. I had it happen to me in wrestling, actually.
I got slammed on my head. I got slammed
Yeah.
during the summer at a wrestling event that was not, it wasn't anything special. It was just a summer thing going on. And I got McCanned, and I fell on my head. And, yeah, my bell got runged. It bounced.
For me, it was
my
I
head
bounced the
bounced.
back. Yeah, I bounced the back of my head. Luckily on the mat. It wasn't off the mat. But it
was on the mat.
Sometimes it's sometimes just temporary. You know what I mean? It's just like you get kind of knocked a little.
You see stars.
But you see stars.
Yeah.
But does seeing stars mean you got a concussion?
Right.
I don't think that I don't think that's a safe. So if they test you, you know what I mean? I know, like when I had 2 concussions in my life, one in football, one in wrestling. No, I probably had more. I mean, they have a lot of undiagnosed things like that now, but you go back and there were 2 times when I was actually checked for a concussion. There's 2 times I came out of an event where I got my bell rung. Let's say that. And in the football one, they did the sideline test, and back then it was hold up 2 fingers, what day it is, what's your name, and if you passed those things, you were considered cleared. You could go back in the game.
Same thing. I got crack blocked as a freshman. We were playing varsity. For some reason, they brought the freshmen on the field with the varsity. And the cornerback didn't tell me, and I'm playing outside linebacker. I'm already undersized as a freshman anyway. I get crack blocked. I get knocked out. And I had to get woken up by the little smelling salt stuff. And then that was what it was. It was like,
But
how
they
many
didn't let
fingers?
you back in that.
No, they didn't. I was gone the whole rest of practice.
Right.
But literally to make sure that I was all right, it was how many fingers am I holding up? What day it is? What day is it? When's your birthday? It was, yeah.
But I got sent back in. I mean, this was against Aquinas Institute. I got sent back in because I passed that little test, and I probably shouldn't have.
Well, it's like
then.
weird because nowadays it's like how much, because like even a sport like soccer, for instance, the headers that go on and the constant, like there's always that, and them falling down can also have an effect too. So even in a sport that's not even a contact sport, it seems like there's an issue with just the force of the head going forward.
Well, there's a proper there's a proper way to head the ball, and they're supposed to. That's why it's actually illegal now at the younger levels, and I think in some
they won't let you.
Women they don't do the header anymore. But I mean, it's like if you hit it right on top of your head, you can compress the neck, and you also can ring your bell. Right. You're supposed to head the ball with your forehead, and bow your neck and head it with your forehead, similar to how you're supposed to hit in football. You know what I mean? And we were always taught putting the head across the beam in football. Put your face on the ball to knock the ball out. We were never taught to hit a guy in the head.
Yeah.
You were never taught to you were always taught across the term was across the beam.
Yeah.
In other words, if there was a beam going down the middle of the player, you didn't tackle
Across
him
the
from
numbers.
you went across the beam of the guy and make that hit.
I totally agree with you when you're saying in the NFL you're seeing lack of tackling.
Oh, it's
I see it
terrible.
in college. I don't think it's
no, it's terrible in
It's
college,
awful
too.
everywhere. I mean, it doesn't. It's
good
trickling
in
all
high
the way
school.
down. Yeah,
It's best in high school. In high school, I'm seeing the best tackles I see week in and week out are in a high school game, and it's physics too to a certain extent. I always, when I taught tackling, I always try to tell people, the player, think about it. When you drop your head and reach out, your arms get shorter because your headgear goes to the middle of your forearm.
Yeah.
I mean, those who are watching WZZ on TV, I'm demonstrating. Your forearm, your head goes to the middle of your forearm, so now all you've got left is this little bit. The proper tackling technique is when you come out to make the tackle, you snap your head back, actually.
Like taking
You're
a
supposed to
double
go
leg.
chest to chest, snap your head back, fire your arms, and roll your hips. Grab cloth behind the player. You just grab his numbers behind the player.
Right.
Grab cloth, roll your hips, chop your feet. When you pull your head back, your arms get full length. Now you got the full length of your arm. So by dropping your head, you lose your arms. The thing is, too many of these guys are looking for the big explosion hit, and they're not even worried about their arms. Yeah, they're going in there just trying to bang a guy down.
Yeah, the shoulder hit or not even running your feet. I mean, that's number one in wrestling, right? When you take a double leg in wrestling and you get hipped in the face because you didn't run your feet, and you get thrown on your back, that's getting embarrassed. And that's why I love wrestlers who are football players, because they know for real, like, if you don't run your feet and you don't hold on, you don't wrap, you're gonna get thrown.
They may know, but a lot of times they don't execute that way. And this goes back to, are we doing a 10-minute form tackling drill every single day in practice? And I don't know. I should ask Matt Patterson that. I should ask Matt Patterson that. Do high schools do? And I'm not talking about nutcrackers. I'm not talking about an Okie drill. I'm talking about a form tackling drill. And what that means is you're 3 yards apart from each other, a partner, everybody gets partnered up. Defensive guys, you all get partnered up. You're 3 yards away from each other. You blow the whistle, you chop your feet. You blow the whistle, you come into the guy at 3/4 speed, sometimes 7/8, but 3/4 to 7/8 speed. You come into the guy. The guy has his arm, he's holding his arm like he's got a football so that you know where you're going to put your face, okay? So one arm or the other here, it doesn't have to have a ball, just make your arm like you're holding a football. First whistle, chop your feet. Second whistle, come to the guy, make contact. Third whistle, grab cloth, chop your feet, roll your hips. Roll your hips, snap your head back, roll your hips. Fourth whistle, drop them. So it's tweet, 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 that fast, okay? And then you do the other. So you go head on, and then you go on an angle, okay? The guy's going to go on an angle to the right and an angle to the left. And you put your head across the butt. First whistle, chop your feet. Second whistle, attack the man. Third whistle, contact. Fourth whistle, roll your hips, chop your feet, get them off the ground, and then just drop them. Right? You're not tackling them to the ground. You're just rolling your hips and going there to it. Every single day, 10 minutes, form tackling every single day. Not a nutcracker, not an Okie drill, okay, but a form tackling drill. Now, we would do 10 minutes of that, all right, and then I would do 5 minutes of a fumble drill, where we would come from behind, punch out, come from the side, tomahawk rip, come from the other side, tomahawk rip, okay? And it's two guys. It's a three-man drill. One guy's the ball carrier, so now he's got the ball, okay? And you have a guy that's coming up that behind him, and then you have a guy that's trailing him, all right, that's in pursuit. So the first guy comes, and say it's an angle deal. He comes across over the top with a tomahawk, hammers the ball out. The guy behind him falls on the ball. And we taught him how to fall on the ball. You don't jump on the ball on your stomach and have everybody land on top of you and knock the wind out of you or rip the ball away. You don't jump on the ball and roll over on your back where everybody can dig the ball away. When you recover the fumble, you get fetal. You recover the ball, you recover the fumble in a fetal position where you're curling up and you get fetal on your side, two hands on the ball, And that's where you are until they unpack everything, because crap's going to happen at the bottom of that pile. So you just want to hang on in a fetal position. You don't reach for the ball. You don't. Now we do scoop and score drill. That's a different thing. That's an athletic thing. You sink your hips, you drop down, you scoop, and I'm getting so coachy now. It's getting so freaking coachy now. But I don't know if they're doing it. So 10 minutes of form tackle, 10 minutes of strip drill, 10 minutes or 5 minutes of strip drill, 5 more minutes of recovering the fumble. Every single day. Every day. And let me tell you something else about that. You say, well, that's at Harry High School stuff. I did it in college, first of all. I was a coach in college. And let me tell you where I got the drill. Let me tell you where I got the form tackling drill. Bill Belichick, when he was the coach of the Cleveland Browns. I went and spent 3 days. Our staff spent 3 days with the Cleveland Browns when Bill Belichick was the coach. They did form tackling every single day. They also practiced in full pads. But they did form tackling every single day. You know where I got the strip drill? Dallas Cowboys. Did it every single day. This is the Dallas Cowboys of the early 90s when the Dallas Cowboys were winning Super Bowls. Every single day did the and if one day it wasn't on the schedule, it got to the point where halfway through the season, if it wasn't on the schedule, my guys, I coached outside linebackers and special teams coordinator and outside linebackers. My guys would say, hey, we didn't do the strip drill. Hey, we got to form tackle. And we didn't form tackle hold a dummy. We don't form tackle a dummy. We did do some hitting of a sled, things like that, but we really didn't form tackle a dummy. We form tackled people, each other. 3/4 speed, 7/8. We're going to go 7/8. Not full speed, not to the ground. Floyd is up next. Floyd, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, man. You're bringing back some memories. You and I must be in the same generation.
Yeah. I get fired up, man. I start getting coachy, man. I start getting fired up.
I know. That's my dad was a coach, and I played high school and college and this, that, and the other. But I can only think of one thing you left out. Keep your head up and eyeball just above the belly button, because that's the only part they could.
They can't fake you out there. Yeah, the belt. We used to say the belt. Watch the belt, because they can't fake you out there. And yeah, see what you hit. See what you hit is always see what you hit. See what you're hitting. You can't drop your head. You got to see what you hit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I played on offensive and defensive line, but the first time I heard, somebody talking about he has good hands, because back then we couldn't touch anybody. You couldn't. That was holding if you touched somebody with a hand. And they said, somebody said, well, he has strong hands. I'm like, good gracious, what's he doing? Playing patty cake or what? But yeah, I was just going to say, watch the belt. It don't move.
That's right. That's a great point. Can't fake it. Can't fake you out at the waist.
That's right.
All right, Floyd.
That's right.
Appreciate you, guys.
All right, guys.
All right, man.
And also teach your wide receivers to come back to the ball. Come back to the ball and also block.
I don't know about
be able to block. Be able to block.
Stinking wide receivers.
I mean, wide receivers that can't block is that's my pet peeve.
It's a defensive.
And defensive backs who are flat-footed. I don't know how you can teach that.
You can't. Nobody teaches even flat-footed. They just do it. They don't, because they're not getting taught the right way.
Yeah.
All right. So on your wide receiver blocking, let me give you the term there. What they got to do there, because you don't block.
It's not like a real block. Yeah, you just get in the way.
It's called a stalk block. That's what you call it. It's stalking. And here's what you're trying to do as a wide receiver, okay? And I never coached wide receivers in my life, but as a football coach, so we know a little bit about everything. But I mostly defense. I want to talk defense. But wide receiver, it's a stalk block, and as Grizz will tell you, probably, I hope he was coached this way. Not only you're stalking the guy, like in basketball, it's a basketball block. You get in front of the guy, and you go, and the idea, what you're trying to do is you step on his feet. That's what you want to do. That's what you think about that. Because I used a ton of imagery. Everything I did had imagery. So what you're trying to do is you're stalking a guy and you're trying to step on his feet. If you try to step on that defender's feet, then he can't get around. You don't go and lunge at a guy. You don't block a guy that way. You just stalk him and seal him off.
I mean, I've tried to teach, just offensive linemen to be able to do that, just so we get a second off the snap.
Yeah,
but apparently it's hard to even teach that.
Yeah, my thing with offensive line, and I did coach offensive line for a short period of time, a couple of years, but my thing about offensive line, because what I would do is I would go to offensive line clinics as a defensive line coach, because I wanted to know what they were teaching. What the offensive line were teaching, where the coaches were teaching the offensive linemen, so that I could defeat that with my defensive guys. So I would go to offensive line clinics. But, with offensive line, that whole thing about low base, low man wins, I mean, that's as true as football has ever been. And the other thing is to be able to swing your hips into the hole, all right? Whichever way, if you're fanning a hole or if you're swinging, if you're supposed to be sealing a guy, you don't grab the guy and then move him with your arms. You move the guy with your ass and your legs. I mean, look at Wes Neighbors, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? As big as he is in his chest, look at his base. And when Wes Neighbors were to take it from his guard position or his center position, if he were to take and get a position on a guy, he's got a position on a guy's shade, when he swings his ass into the hole, and in that low position, that's done. It's over.
Yeah,
you are blocked.
Go watch that.
But if you reach, you're gonna call for holding, because now you're just reaching with your arms. And Wes is as strong as a truck. I mean, Wes could do, you know what I mean? But if Wes reached out with just his hands, what's going to happen is as that guy moves, if he's not using his legs and his feet and his rotating his hips, swinging his hips into the hole, whatever the hole may be, if he's not doing that, eventually that guy within a half a second is starting to slide off of his frame, and now he's holding. Now he's going to get called for holding.
Yeah, that long 76-yard run by Jahmyr Gibbs. Watch the offensive line. They create a hole. They created a huge lane. I mean, that was a great offensive line.
But what you see is their shoulders, and their butts end up perpendicular to the goal line. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they're not parallel to the goal line and perpendicular to the sideline. You get in that hole and you swing your butt into that hole, and you end up perpendicular to the bowl, to the thing. Now the guy's got to run around you. He can't make the tackle, especially when you got Jahmyr Gibbs running like a deer. Let's get a break. When we come back, Tuesday Top 10, I got to give you these states that have produced the most NFL players currently in the NFL. Next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now, because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Humphrey's is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget Sunday brunch with Microwave Days. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphrey's Bar and Grill.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Did you just turn it up? Is that what you did when he said turn it up? I think you turned it up when he said turn it up. No, I think maybe you weren't even thinking about it. You just turned it up. Maybe not.
It's just kind of like it's just set up like that.
Today's Tuesday Top 10. Might have been just in my brain because I've been doing that for 40 years. Every time he said turn it up, I turn it up. Hey, when a Van Zandt tells me to turn it up, man, I'm turning it up. I mean, it's just you got to do it. Today's Tuesday Top 10 is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. For all your rental needs, it's Valley Equipment Rental. They have everything that you need to get the job done like a pro. And don't forget, when the weekend comes up, if you get your equipment after 2 o'clock on Friday, or if you get it Saturday morning, it's not due back until Sunday or until Monday. So you get Sunday and Saturday as well. You get the entire weekend is what I'm trying to say. And the equipment's not due back until Monday. Ross Roberts and his team are very involved in the community. They help us bring you high school football. They help us bring you John Samuel Schenker as well. And they do a great job with all of these things. And we really appreciate Valley Equipment Rental, a longtime sponsors now of the Thom Abraham Show.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the Tuesday Top 10. All right, what cities have currently produced the most NFL players? And these are cities where the kid played high school football, all right, in that particular city or area that he played high school football, not where he was born. So if a kid was born in California and moved to Texas, wherever he went to high school and played his high school football. All right, so these are the cities that have produced the most high school or the most NFL players. St. Louis, Missouri, Philadelphia, PA, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Austin, Texas have provided 10 players in the NFL. Plantation, Florida. Do you know how small Plantation, Florida is? Plantation, Florida, 11 players currently in the NFL. Cleveland, Ohio, 12 players in the NFL. Out of New Orleans and Atlanta, 13 players in the NFL. Bradenton, Florida, 14 players in the NFL. Fifth on the list, Tampa, Florida, has produced 15 players in the NFL. Number 4 is Detroit, Michigan. Actually, number 3 is Detroit, Michigan. Detroit has produced 16 NFL players. And tied atop the list, the top 2 cities in America that have produced NFL players, Grizz, Houston, Texas, and Miami, Florida, with 19 each. Is that surprising? Miami doesn't surprise me. Houston, that's a little bit maybe surprising.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. I was kind of trying to find one for a while, too, to try to see what you were looking at, just to try to see if I could find.
You can't find this.
Okay.
This is a release
but I found
from the
one
NFL.
that was just kind of random. I don't know how long ago this was, but I have one that has Birmingham, Alabama has 11.
Yeah. Well,
That's
not
crazy.
right now in the NFL.
I wonder how many that is now.
Yeah, well, it's less than 10 because this is an NFL release that just came out this week.
This one was kind of communications, but it doesn't have a date on it, so I'm trying to find it.
Texas has the most players in the NFL, 199. Then Florida at 185, California at 166, Georgia at 151. Alabama has 58 players, the same as North Carolina and Pennsylvania. And for Phillip, Virginia, 41 NFL players. Tennessee, 37 NFL players. And per capita, number 1 is Georgia. Number 2 is Louisiana. Number 3 is Mississippi. And number 4 is Alabama in terms of per capita players in the NFL. All right, coming up next is the Chuck Oliver Show. We'll join you for Hump Day tomorrow from South Carolina, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans.